like to take a moment to introduce someone to you that's going to come up and say a few words. This individual is the man that is going to take Mr. John Barrow and send him home, because we have our new Republican congressman for the 10th Congressional District, Mr. Rick Allen. Rick?
How are we doing out there? Great. I'm so thankful for Governor Deal allowing me to come and share a few thoughts with you. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm probably the most consistent person you'll ever meet. And I'm running against the most inconsistent person you'll ever meet in John Barrow.
Amen.
I've been married for 41 years. We've got 4 children, 7 grandchildren. All our children are very happily married. They're gainfully employed, and that's tough to do in this environment. I know everybody is hurting. But we're running against a guy, you don't know what he's going to do in Washington. That is the problem in Washington today. That's why we have to change the way Washington does business. Now, I'm not a politician, I'm a businessman. I have balanced budgets, I have created jobs, and I have grown the economy. The politicians in Washington can't seem to do either. And that's why we must change the way we're doing business in Washington. I need your vote on November 4th. What is going to win this election is for good folks like us to turn out and vote. Because the good news is, in this district, there are more of us than there are of them. John Barrow has been able to hold on because he's been able to fool people. Well, I'm going to tell you, we're going to tell the truth, we're going to be consistent, and we're going to have the winning message. We must change the way Washington does business. Now I want to say something about our governor. In 2008, the state of Georgia lost 360,000 jobs. And that was pretty much the way it was across the country. But let me tell you what's different about Georgia. When Nathan Deal was elected governor, his number one objective was job growth in the economy. And today, Georgia has replaced 200,000 of those 360,000 jobs. That's why we must re-elect Nathan Deal, governor of the great state of Georgia. Thank you very much. Vote November 4th, Republican. I'm easy. I'm the first one on the ballot. Thank you very much.
Now I want to introduce to you our sitting state representative in the Georgia State Legislature. This is one of the individuals, along with Matt Hatchett, who is responsible for making Georgia number 1 on that CNBC poll for business-friendly states. I want to, before he comes up, I want to just tell you a couple of things. NBC measures 10 items every year to determine the most business-friendly state in the United States. Georgia come in number 1 this year. And we have to thank our legislature for that. Let's give a big hand for our legislature and our leader for what they have done for us in Atlanta. In this particular poll, they rated the economy, infrastructure, workforce, quality of life, several other things. I'm not going to read the whole list to you. There were 10 items. But in addition to being number 1 overall, Georgia was number 1 in infrastructure, roads, our port in Savannah, those type of things that our governor and our legislature were responsible for helping provide for us. We were number 1 in workforce. We've got good quality, trained, experienced people in the state of Georgia that are ready for jobs that are going to come with this new economy that our governor is building for us today. We were number 3 in the United States in overall economy. Folks, that's hard to beat. And again, I want to introduce to you one of the people responsible for that, our state senator, Mr. Ross Tolleson.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is an absolutely beautiful afternoon in Dublin, Georgia. This is a great place to be. It's an awesome community, and everybody works hard together to have economic development, and we're proud to represent you in the Georgia Senate. I do want to say that Governor Nathan Deal is one of the most respectful people I have ever worked with in the political system. He stays focused on trying to create jobs in Georgia, the economy, and trying to make a positive difference for all the citizens in the state of Georgia. So I'm going to tell you that he is one of the most respectful people. First time I ever met him, I was working on issues with water at Lake Lanier, and he was in Congress, and he set up a meeting in D.C. with folks and the Corps of Engineers and all. We went up to have a meeting, and I'm going to tell you, I learned right then that is a fine man. He is focused on doing the right thing. So I'm proud that he's my governor. I'm proud he's your governor, and I want to get him elected by a landslide again so he can be our governor 4 more years. So with that, thank y'all very much for coming out tonight, and we look forward to having Governor Nathan Deal reelected. Thank you very much.
My favorite thing about vaping is the flavors. You know, so many different flavors. Doesn't remind you of cigarettes, but it still gives you the cigarette feel. With the MVP 2.0, you have the variable wattage and voltage, so you can make it hit how you want it. You can charge your phone from it. It has a pass-through, so you can use it while it's charging. And there's really no limits to the vape experience.
Wanted to quit smoking. First of all, got tired of stinking, smelling, vehicle, which I don't smoke in the truck or the house, but it's just inconvenient. My wife, she didn't like to kiss a smoker. She's been quit for 7 months now. I'm on a 50 days, 45 days. But it's all right. It's way better. Benefits are already showing.
I have one more introduction to you before the governor comes out, and I want to introduce to you our state representative, my good friend, a friend to all of us here in Lawrence County, a friend to all of us in the state of Georgia, our representative in Atlanta, Mr. Matt Hatchett.
Isn't it a good day? Can y'all hear me? How about y'all over there? Phil Best, can you hear me? You looked up, you must be able to hear me. Well, I just want to thank y'all all for coming out today. It's turned out to be a beautiful day. Of course, we were worried about the weather, and obviously we didn't have to worry about rain, but it's nice and warm, and we appreciate y'all for coming out. You know, this person that's standing to my right, I've known him for, I guess, about 5 years now, and he had my back a way long time ago, right downtown Dublin, and I'll never forget it. He let me have the honor of working with him as a floor leader for 2 years, where I learned a lot of things about our state government, and I'll be forever indebted to him. He has been a friend of Lawrence County. He's worked with us we've had 3 projects since he's been elected. The state has worked close with Lawrence County Development Authority on those, most recently last week, and I want to thank you, Governor, for what happened last week, and we hope that's just one more, one that'll happen. That'll keep happening at least once a year, maybe more often. So it's my pleasure to introduce Governor Nathan Deal, our 82nd governor, and y'all please give him a large hand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matt. I'm glad to be with you today. Let me first of all introduce to you the First Lady, my wife, Sandra Deal. I want to thank you for the hospitality you've shown to her as she has traveled around this state in trying to encourage young children to be interested and learn to read. If we can achieve that goal, we will improve our test scores, we will improve our graduation rates, and we will save ourselves a lot of time, trouble, and tears as we try to drag people across the finish line to get them a high school diploma. So thank you, Sandra, for all the good work you've done. If you don't know the magnitude of what she's done, she's read to children in all 159 counties and all 181 school districts and over 320 plus individual schools. That's quite an achievement. I want to thank the folks who put this program on for us today and provided the food and the entertainment. Thank you for getting out on a hot afternoon. I know that it's a little warm out there, and my wife would tell me don't talk long. It's too hot for them to stand out there. But let me just tell you a little bit about the overview of what we've been able to achieve working with your local economic development authorities, your local county and city officials. And I must tell you, you have one of the best teams that we find anywhere in the state of Georgia, and you've been nationally recognized for having an outstanding economic development team, something you ought to be very, very proud of. I asked the Department of Economic Development to give us some statistics as to what had happened in Lawrence County since I became governor, January of 2011. Their totals show that we have either announced or actually have in place 1,000 new jobs, $275 million of new capital investment right here in Lawrence County. And that's a huge achievement. And certainly just a week ago we had the Palmyra Glass announcement, which is a new company that is coming. We have every reason to believe that the initial 125 jobs that they're talking about will probably grow very rapidly because we think they will be very successful with their product. And when people come to our state and into communities where they can be successful and make money at their business, they tend to grow. So I have every expectation that they're going to stay here in your community and that they're going to continue to grow. Thank you for taking an interest in this campaign. We are running for re-election. We're running on the fact that I think we've done a good job. We put job creation as our #1 priority. And the reason I have done that is I have a very simple motto. If a person has a good job, they can take care of themselves, they can take care of their family, they can be charitable in their community, and they have less reason to ask government to do things for them. Now that is conservative government, and we think it works. Let me tell you why I think it works, because we've got the proof to show that it works. Over 250,000 new private sector jobs in the state of Georgia in the 3.5 years since I became governor. That is a large, large number. In fact, I was with our labor commissioner this weekend, and he was saying, I've got a new statistic for you. As over the last year, apparently the state of Georgia ranks #5 in terms of total new jobs created according to the Labor Department statistics. Now remember, we are only one of the, not the smallest, but we're not the largest. The ones who had the more jobs than we did were the big states, the Californias, the New Yorks, places like that. So in terms of our population base of not quite 10 million, to have that kind of job growth really, I think, makes us stand out. And that's what we have been recognized for. Not only did Site Selection magazine last fall say we were the #1 state in the nation in which to do business, but CNBC came along this year and confirmed that fact. And I understand that tomorrow they're going to be in Atlanta filming some of the great things that have happened in the state of Georgia. So I hope I'm going to be on CNBC tomorrow to be able to tell people what we've done here in our state. Elections matter. Ideas matter. But things that happen are ideas that are put into practice. You know, in political elections, a lot of time you hear a lot of words, a lot of rhetoric. Rhetoric does not accomplish anything. It is only when you take ideas and put them into practice and show results that things change. That's what we've tried to do. We've done it in a very simple format, And I want to thank not only Matt and Ross, but the other members of the General Assembly who have been very cooperative in working with me. We have made major reforms in this state. We have reformed the tax code as it applies to individuals. And by the way, if you are a working couple in this state and you file a joint tax return, for all intents and purposes, we have eliminated the marriage tax penalty in the state of Georgia. If you're a business that manufactures something, we have eliminated the sales tax on your energy that you use to manufacture that product. And that has been one of the greatest incentives we have seen for manufacturers, whether it be the one most recently announced here last week in your community or many others scattered across our state. We have found, I think, the key to making Georgia a place where manufacturing once again provides the hub and stable employment for the citizens of our state. So thank you all for being a part of that. I'm working hard to make sure that people understand and know the message. I want to ask you to help us in that undertaking. I need your vote. I need your support. I need you to talk to your family and to your friends, people that you associate with in various organizations. Please encourage them to go vote. It is too important for us to miss this opportunity to keep Georgia moving forward. And just to close with one of the major undertakings that we have had, and it's been over a 3-year period, and that is to reform our criminal justice system in this state. When I came into office, we had the 10th largest population in the country, but we had the 4th largest prison population. Something was out of sync. In brief, abbreviated terms, the reforms we have put in place are beginning to change that dynamic. We were locking up people that we classified as nonviolent. We were putting them in $18,000 a day prison beds. We know there's a better way. We have diverted those because they have, in many instances, substance abuse problems, sending them to drug courts, DUI courts, mental health courts, and increasingly now with the returning veterans, veterans courts, to be able to deal with the issues that get them in trouble. We then, and by the way, that passed unanimously in the Georgia General Assembly. Have you ever heard of much that passed unanimously in the Georgia General Assembly? Well, that one did. The second year, we took on juvenile justice reform, the same idea, that we were locking up young people that we classified as nonviolent in very expensive settings, $90,000 a year to incarcerate a juvenile, and that is something that takes a lot of money to be able to do it, and the results were not very good. So, what we did there was to follow the same model, create community-based diversion programs so that we did not have to use those very expensive facilities. Now, if you think the old system works good, try this for size. We were spending about $1.2 billion in our prison system. We were having 1 out of every 3 that we were releasing from the prison system back in trouble and back in the system within 3 years. If that's bad, try 1 out of every 2 juveniles who were incarcerated in our system and released were back in it within 3 years. So it was not working. We have seen those reforms. First one passed unanimously. The second one passed unanimously. The third leg that we passed this year was what we call reentry. And that is dealing with the 60,000 or so in our prison system who at some point in time are going to be released. They either will have served their entire sentence or the Pardons and Parole Board will set them free. Now, those are the individuals that if we don't change the dynamic, they'll be back in trouble again. It'll be 1 out of every 3 will be back in 3 years. We analyzed the population we have. 70% of them do not have a high school diploma or a GED. Now, you try not having that, plus having a felony on your record, what are your chances going to be of success in the private sector? Not very good. We have hired one of the best school superintendents in the state of Georgia. He has gone to work as an assistant commissioner in the Department of Corrections. His focus is going to be on education and training. We believe that if they have a marketable skill when they get out, they will have a much better chance of not getting in trouble again. Now, if you don't think that's important, let me tell you this. The pattern is when somebody is released from prison, they go back to the community where they got in trouble in the first place. And if they get in trouble the second time around, they get in trouble and commit crimes in the community where they were when they were first sent to prison. We need to break that pattern. We believe that we're on the right track to do that. And, by the way, that one didn't quite pass unanimously. We had 3 dissenting votes, but 2 of the 3 were defeated in the Republican primary back in May. So, you know, it pays to be on the right side of history on issues like this one. Those are just a few. We're number 1 in terms of a place to do business. We're going to be very soon regarded as number 1 in terms of criminal justice reform, to make the system work appropriately. And we're going to be working extremely hard to improve our K through 12 education in this state. That is the workforce that we have to have. We've got a great pre-K system, recognized one of the best in the country. We've got a great technical school system and Quick Start associated with it that helps us bring companies to our communities and train the workers that they need. We've got a great college and university system. We're one of only 3 states that have 2 universities ranked in the top 20 in the United States. So where we have to concentrate our efforts from this point forward is in K through 12 education, to make sure that we have young people who are educated and learning what they need to know to be successful when they leave high school, and to be sure that they actually graduate from high school. I look forward to the opportunity to focus not only what we've already done and keep it going, but to be able to focus on some of these other areas that we seriously need to address. I thank you for your support. You've been a great community for me to visit, and we are always pleased to be here in Middle Georgia. As many of you know, I grew up not too far from here over in Sandersville in Washington County. I'm accustomed to the gnats. I'm accustomed to heat. So anybody else that's complaining about that, they just came from the wrong part of Georgia. But thank you for your support today. Thank you for coming out, and I appreciate your support, and I need your vote in November. Thank you very much.